on America. Big on America.
What? Hey, you caught me dancing. What's up?
You caught me dancing.
You caught me dancing. I was just dancing around like a crazy man. What's up? It's Jason Dutch. It's Big Hustlasa Ding Dong. It's the
What's
the two-man
it?
show.
What's it? What's it? What's it?
So we'll do the bigger screen since it's just the two of us. We can make it if we try, just the two of us, you and I. What's up, Big Hot? Oh, what do you got there?
What's going on?
You got some Lubriderm?
Some inventory, basically, is what it is.
We weren't pay no attention to the bottle of Lubriderm in the background, folks.
Yeah, and the Kool-Aid.
It's Big Haas. It's Dig on America. We're back. I'm back, at least. I wasn't here last week. You were here last week. So
I was.
So I guess you're not.
Uh-oh. Let me vamp. Dutch is gone. I don't know what happened, but here I is. You know, smoking a cigar, chilling. So we're going to talk about some things today. We're going to talk about the banks collapsing and what that potentially means for us. Does it mean anything? Maybe. Does it mean nothing? I doubt if it means nothing. I hope that it is not a domino hurtling us towards a crippling recession, but we shall see. We need to talk about what we might want to do in the interim to offset potential devastation financially, huh? But
dude,
I see Dutch is back.
I literally moved my computer back an inch.
Sometimes an inch is all it takes,
I was
Dutch.
like, you know what? It's an inch too close. Let me just push it back just an inch. And then it goes up. It's so sensitive, man. It's like
sometimes
you push it a little bit.
An inch too far or an inch too little is a big difference.
That's correct. Hey, what's up, Lemaire? I've been in Chicago for almost a month. I haven't heard from Big Haas, from Mikey, or from Lamar for that matter. Not one person.
Man, you don't even understand.
Said, oh, Dutch, you're back in town. Can't wait to hang with you. No, they're just like chop liver. I can see them on Twitch. It's fine.
When I get some time to hang, then I'll do so. It's crazy. It's crazy right now. It's hot out here in these streets.
It's hot out here for a pimp.
For a pimp.
But yeah, so I'm here.
How are you liking your return to foray to the Midwest? Well, you liking this cold?
It's the funny thing is, it's like it was warm until it was warm when I got here. And then on Friday, last week I had to put out a fire with my 17-year-old, which 17-year-olds they're customarily, they'll have a fire they have to put out due to some relationship or social issue at school.
Right.
Once every 4 to 5 months, they just decide that they're going to go ballistic on you. And of course, it's, if it wasn't on podcast night, why would it be any night?
Right.
It's like they time these. Oh, Dad's always busy on Wednesdays. If I cause
that's the perfect time to do it. Right.
Because that's when I can get the most attention. But I played the good boy. I was a good little boy, and I did the dad thing first.
Of course.
And then
that's what you do.
That's right. And then Friday, the wife and kids came in from Texas,
Yeah.
so that pretty much put the entire weekend into craziness. And like you were mentioning this bank thing, like you gave me the summary on it. Honestly, I had no idea what you were talking about because I've been disconnected from the news for what 5-6 days now. I haven't paid attention to the slightest thing. I haven't watched any. I haven't even done my Twitch stream
Really?
since. Yeah, I haven't done a Twitch stream since Thursday.
Why
So
so?
because I was with with the wife and kids. Well, when would I do it?
Facts.
They were in
Facts.
town. They were in town, so I was like, you know what? I'm not going to have the distraction. Once we move into a house and everything, it'll be a different story because like we won't. But like we were literally doing some. They were here for 5 nights, so 4 days, 5 nights. So it's like literally every night was action packed.
I
With
bet.
family and stuff but I should probably find out what's going on with politics because the funny thing is I do this funny thing called the political podcast. And,
Right.
it would be helpful. So Silicon Valley Bank, I'm going to pull up a video on this real quick here for us to look at. So hello if you're watching on Twitch or YouTube.
You gotta get over here.
It's
So
what
you can
gotta
see
do.
what we're
Hopefully-
looking at.
Yeah, and if you're listening on audio, you should be joining us on Wednesdays and Fridays. In fact, I'm sorry to the people on audio. I'm a little you won't know because but I am super behind with upload. I don't think I've uploaded anything to audio in 2 weeks. So I'll have to make sure that I get on that because you can't listen on audio if I don't upload it. It's this funny way that the audio works. If you don't upload it, nobody knows it's there. So but this is from CNN. What do you guys have to say?
For people outside of
let's start that over.
What does this mean for people outside of the Silicon Valley Bank universe? What does this mean for the average borrower, if anything?
So far, it doesn't mean anything, but the big question is one of contagion. That is, what we saw in 2008 was when one big bank and a couple of others started to fail, could not pay their depositors, could not actually pay up what they owed. They were closed, and regulators had to move in very, very quickly. But we ended up with a financial crisis because, one big banking card easily starts tipping over other cards. It's a house of cards. Now, we don't know yet about contagion. What we do know is that this bank was obviously overextended. And this is related to the Fed because as interest rates went up and this bank was lending to a lot of startups, this bank simply could not handle it. I think that this is the biggest economic news today. It is not this jobs report. The jobs report was good, and it's kind of signals to me a soft landing. But I think that in terms of what the Fed is going to do, this bank implosion, this potential contagion may reverse Jerome Powell's direction. It may lead to, instead of a 0.5 point increase at the March meeting, it may lead to no increase at all. In fact, it's even conceivable that interest rates start dropping with fear that we're going to be in deep trouble.
You have advocated for the Fed to stop increasing the interest rate. Why? Before this issue with Silicon Valley Bank?
Simply because I don't see any wage price inflation. Wages, according to Jerome Powell, are pushing up prices. Well, that's simply not the case. Look at today's report, for example. We're seeing the smallest wage increase in over a year. Prices continue to rise. That is absolutely true. But wages are not pushing them up. It's not that workers are doing so wonderfully well.
You don't say.
But what's pushing up many prices domestically in big companies that want to increase their profit margins. And
shocker.
And here's what'll happen.
What a shocker. Hold on. No, I'm not ready.
Go ahead.
I am in shock. Like I want to say, Cotton, I feel shocked.
Here and here the pro
You don't
business
fucking
poor.
say. Go
The
ahead.
pro business poor will say, "Oh, he's just a shill. He's not telling us the truth." But when you look at the raw numbers, you see wages still continue to stagnate while profits continue to rise. Now, you can't say, but they're saying wages are what is increasing inflation and causing this. No, it's not. But that's what the businesses want you to believe. And the pro business poor, that's one of my new monikers for them. We got a lot of, it's always funny to me how people with little to nothing living paycheck to paycheck rush to defend the hundreds of billionaires and millionaires in their circles.
So real quick, I just popped up YouTube.
Mhm.
You guys, now some of you may know what Victory Channel is. It's religious far right evangelical news. I wonder what they will have to say about this. I have not listened to this, I promise you. But let's see what Victory Channel has to say about this.
So I want to get on with the news of the day. The banking collapse that we're seeing.
No, it's not sharing. Let's try this one more time. Why aren't you sharing with me, my friend? Let's try this one more time.
Share.
We are professionals here at Dig on America. We know exactly
We promise.
what we're doing.
We promise.
Get on with the news of the day.
Pastor Gene, hi.
The banking collapse that we're seeing all across the nation. Let me show you this from Inside Paper. Just in, bank stock.
Can I make a prediction here?
What is Inside Paper?
Who knows?
It's a tweet. It's a Twitter account. It looks like.
Is that what they said? Inside Paper? Is that what he called it?
That if you look up at the top there, you can see the Twitter handle with the blue check mark on it. Inside Paper.
All right, let's check that real quick here. Hold on. That's a good, because you know what, this is the nice thing about the show is we don't care. We only care about what's true. But let's find out if they're Inside
Who are
Paper,
they?
huh?
Yes.
Yeah, let's find out who they are. Inside Paper. Well, Inside Paper, is that a verified account? Let me see.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, maybe. I can't read the
insider paper.
Oh, Insider Paper. Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say I can't read it just so happens the YouTube title's in front of the Twitter, the Twitch.
The Twitter.
There we go. The Twitter handle, so I couldn't read what it said. All right, Insider Paper is your source for breaking news and developing stories. Okay, so this doesn't appear to be a particularly partisan account.
Okay.
At least not. One of their tweets here is breaking alert: 2.5 tons of uranium is missing from Libyan site. That sounds kind of.
Oh no!
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Other suggested accounts: the Babylon Bee.
Oh shit!
What's that tell me?
We're kind of veering to the the Babylon Bee. Who else?
Yeah, it's all right. So, Insider Paper. I'm going to approach this account with a grain of salt. I'll give the benefit of the doubt, but let's see what they have to say here. I'm just going to take a guess. I'm just going to take a wild guess. It's going to be a super wild guess, but
yeah,
it's probably going to be woke policies and Biden. What's your suspicion as to what they're going to blame?
Trans people.
Yeah. Well, it is a far right evangelical news. So let's see what they have to say.
trade. Western Alliance Bank Corporation down 62%. First Republic Bank 64. PacWest down 42. Charles Schwab down 8.5.
None of this is going to be the fault of Christians, Republicans, or capitalists. I'm
No.
going to guess that.
No.
This is indicative. Now, if you've been scoring along at home, you saw what happened this week. Three banks failed this week: Silvergate, Silicon Valley Bank, and Signature Bank. All right, so let's break this down a little bit.
Oh, yes, please. I can't wait to hear the Evangelical News Network break down economics for me. Are you as excited as I am, Big Haas?
I am radiating excitement. Can't you see my aura? It should be
Yes.
peach. It should be peach right now.
Yes, you are aura.
I can't wait to see
So-
which way this goes.
Here we go. This will be fun.
In case you haven't been paying attention, this SVB was a favored bank of Tech Corp. So
Oh, big tech, the boogeyman of the moment. Okay.
if you wanted to do anything tech, that's where they would end up going to this bank. They were very free with their money. Interestingly enough, Rob, let
They
me
were
bring you
free
in on
with
this
their
right off the
money.
top.
Yes, it sounds very sinister.
Yeah.
Something tells me that that's probably not true.
Let's go.
Interestingly enough, I found out today, there was only one employee in management that had previous banking experience. This should make someone a little concerned, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. And then
Who's this guy?
Probably a pastor.
True.
But people get
Let-
their news. You have 700,000 Americans who get their news from this source only.
And I know people who, when they have marital problems, they talk to a pastor instead of an actual marriage counselor.
But we'll see. We'll see.
in addition, before the federal government took over, they gave all of their employees bonuses.
Oh, really?
Okay, well, I believe that they gave all their employees bonuses. That
Right.
I believe.
Oh yeah, they all got bonuses before it went belly up. Something shady going on there. And
So I got news for you, Pastor. That happens at every business in America, every Fortune 500 company that fails. Their
They
CEOs
give out those bonuses. Yeah.
Yes. So nothing new about that. I don't know where you've been hiding for the last 7 decades. Hey, see the Canadian Alley Man. What's up? But I'm sure you have more breaking news for me.
to see it happening in the Silicon Valley, it doesn't break my heart. This is the part of America that is responsible for stifling our free speech and all.
Oh. So
Free
it sounds to me like it's
speech.
God. Sounds
How-
like
okay.
God's vengeance.
How is banking tied to stifling free speech?
He's blaming. I don't think he's doing that. I think he's saying that this bank enables Facebook and Facebook stifles my free speech. I think that's his
Oh.
argument.
Oh wow.
Because we all know, like, there's no right-wing comments on Facebook. They're immediately
Oh.
deleted.
No, yeah.
know,
Right. Mhm,
We all
mhm.
know that, like, if you post anything on Twitter that says, I believe in low taxes, your account is immediately suspended.
Of course. Of
Yeah.
course.
I mean, stop me when any of this becomes false.
the venture capitalists go to the Silicon Valley Bank.
So this guy,
God damn it, we were right.
yeah, he's the senior pastor who you're hearing here. This expert in the financial world is Rob McCoy from Thousand Oaks, California, senior pastor of Godspeak Church. So I think it's safe to say that God has spoken to him.
Yeah.
And is telling him precisely what is going on here. I mean, is that what are your thoughts here? I want to know where your mind is at.
Why is it that, especially with evangelical, well, with a lot of people in organized religion, any organized religion. I'm not just going to single out right-wing evangelicals, but in any organized religion, it's like just because you got your theological degree or whatever, and you're a pastor and supposedly a man of God, now you're our expert on all things: marriage, banking, the Constitution,
Biology,
whatever, biology, science, chemistry,
Yep.
auto mechanics, all kind of stuff.
Zoology.
You know, evolution, everything.
Yes.
Why
Geology,
is that? Why is that?
cosmology.
Yeah, because guess what? If I was a pastor and someone came to me and was like, "So what's going to happen because of these banks?" Like, you need to talk to a financial dude. You know, you need to talk to I would tell you, you need to go talk to my guy. We call him Uncle China Vision, and have him, because he's in the banking world. So when this all happened, I sent a text to the thread and I said, "My man, Uncle China Vision, what's this mean for us? Because you're a bank VP. You know what I mean?"
Yeah,
I
but
didn't
he's
call
part
up.
of the problem. He's part of the deep state. Only God can. Only
God can discern what's going on.
Only Pastor McCoy can save us from this problem, and he's going to prove it now, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Bank, and they're begging for a bailout, and doing the bonus deal. It's just.
By the way, I wonder who's been on board with calling out bailouts since, I don't know, 12, 13 years ago. Could it have been the progressive wing? I don't know. Refresh my memory.
I remember Chuck Schumer saying, "Let them fail." Or was it Chuck Schumer or who was it?
Oh, there's been a lot of people that have said
Let the banks fail.
Yeah, that's the way that I'm about it. Let them fail, and then we'll have social safety nets to take care of the people. But no. The right wing hates welfare unless it's corporate welfare.
Oh, they love corporate welfare.
Shocker. Unless the corporate welfare goes to some company now that they consider woke.
Right. But like I said, they, you know, we got people that rail against social safety net programs and quote unquote entitlements and things like that, but will rush, you know, to protect businesses. And we got to save these businesses. We got to save. Okay, and unless of course they can be spun to be somehow, you know, progressive, then no, let them go.
Yeah, they're the funny thing that we're seeing right now is that we're seeing a change within the right wing, where instead of being 100% pro-capitalist all the time, there's now something that they've invented called woke capitalism, which I'm making that term up off the top of my head right now, but it's the best way that I can describe what they think is happening. So like, it's like, no, capitalism is perfect. It's the woke part of it that is, because if you attach woke to anything, it will immediately fail.
Yeah, and you know something that is also very funny, how the right wing loves to co-opt terminology and make it toxic. You know, Black Lives Matter, woke, you know, things like that. They just, we're going to take that and co-opt it. Almost like the American flag has been co-opted. And like, it's like some people, you know, I'm like, God bless it. You know, when I see an American flag, there's usually a 3% decal right next to it, or a Oath Keepers decal, or
that's been done on purpose, and
Pritzker sucks decal and stuff like that. So it's like, damn, I want to show my patriotism and love for this country, but it's like, don't want to be attached to that.
They've done that. You know what though? Honestly, that's on us. They did that on purpose. The left let that happen. You know, like it's okay to be and encouraged to be critical of American symbolism and things like that stupid ass national anthem that we have, where people don't know the third verse. You know, you know, and all that type of stuff.
Don't call it a stupid ass national anthem. You're going to be un-American. That's un-American to say that.
That's
to bring up
thing
the
is
third verse. And what I love when you bring that up, well, we don't sing it, but it's there. We
Yeah.
know it's there.
No,
Anyway,
they
go
would
ahead,
sing it.
sir.
They would sing it if they, if they knew that, if they knew, like if the third verse talked about communism in a positive way,
Mm-hmm.
or Satanism in a positive way, or gay rights in a positive way. Like, let's say there was a, when I kiss my boyfriend in the third stanza.
Yeah.
There's no way that they'd be in for that song.
Here's some. Yeah, they would. I don't care if you sing it or not. It's there. We know it's there.
Right.
And here's and historically speaking, if the third verse had been sung as part of the national anthem and all the time, like they do the, first couple of stanzas, then what? They'd probably be like, well, it's tradition. They wouldn't.
And actually, Lamar makes a really interesting point there. We have this so-called Black national anthem, which is called.
Well,
Lift Every
so-called
Voice.
is not. So-called is not
Right.
the word for that. It is the Black national anthem.
Well, that's I've heard people say that it is and isn't. So that's why I'm saying so-called.
Who said it's not?
But back when this was a thing during the Super Bowl, there was people saying, well, it's not an official anthem. It's just like an unofficial thing that a lot of people call the Black national anthem. And
Okay, I mean, so we attaching that to it because ever since I was a baby, that's what it was called by my great grandparents and my grandparents and everything. This is the Black national anthem. You got to learn it,
and that's fine. But that's besides the point that I'm trying to make. The point that I'm trying to make is that particular song is called "Lift Every Voice."
Mm-hmm.
That literally means all lives matter. Like, I mean, the literal title of it is all lives matter.
Every voice.
It's not lift Black voices.
Black voices, right?
It's not lift, marginalized voices. It's not lift the slave's voice. It's lift every voice. And if you were to come up, if you were to say, find me a gospel song that personifies the All Lives Matter movement, I can't think of one that would be a better match just on branding.
Right.
But they say, oh, no. That's a woke song that says lift every voice.
Right.
It is the most astonishing hypocrisy that I could possibly come up with. Not to mention that it is a Christian song.
Yep.
And by the way, a lot of the people, just to kind of jump back to that, a lot of the folks who were talking about the fact that they, that's not accepted by the whole Black community, I think that probably has something to do with it, with the atheist community. But again, I'm just, that's just a guess there. I don't know that for sure. But anyway, let's get back to the video, because we're just talking here. We don't have the expertise that senior pastor of Godspeak Church has on this.
Yeah, Rob McCoy.
Yeah, we should hear from the expert,
right?
Who got his degree from like Trinity College.
Nowhere.
Just it's nauseating.
It is nauseating. We're going to break that down a little more. I want you to watch this.
We're going to bring in some more pastors.
Tucker kind of broke it down a little bit more on the bank collapse. Watch.
How did this happen? Can we get an
Oh, let's hear from.
He said Tucker broke it down.
Yeah,
wow.
My buddy Tucker. Yeah, hold on.
And of course, we have regulators. And how
I love how they have Biden on there.
How did those regulators, since we're pretty confident they exist, are taking big salaries, how did they miss the fact that SVB was insolvent apparently for months and not in some?
How did you miss it, Tucker? I thought you had.
Yeah, you should have been reporting on it a while ago. Then, if you know,
Tucker Carlson is the king of saying, "Oh yeah, I've known about this fucking forever." When something comes up, and he's talking, he talks about things as if, well, listen,
I've known about this forever.
We all of us have known about this for a long time. We could have told them it was coming, but for some reason, they're too incompetent to see it coming. I mean, it's just, of course they knew. But anyway,
some complex credit default swap way. You're going to spend 5,000 words trying to understand, but in a really simple way that's easy to understand. Their liabilities were bigger than their assets. It's very simple. How did nobody notice that? The people who are paid to notice it.
The people that are paid to notice it. All right, so let's break this down a little bit. Pastor.
Yes, please do.
Because nothing has been broken down yet. Break it down.
They're not going to break down the economics of this. I'm just going to we're just going to call that right now.
Hank, is there anything, before I go any further, am I missing something? Was there?
Oh, God. God damn, it's young Wayne Newton.
He said, am I missing something? Yes. Any sort of knowledge about economics would be helpful here. But by the way, Hank Kunneman, if anyone should have known that this was coming, it was Hank Kunneman, who is a self-proclaimed prophet. So I'm sure Hank here is going to tell us that he didn't, in fact, know it was coming.
And just didn't tell anybody.
No, he told us about it in metaphor in some sermon years ago, I'm sure.
Oh.
I'm just predicting this. I could be wrong.
Word about banking here?
Yes. Yes, there was. In fact, actually, I think that sign was kind of humorous. Not to worry. This is under control. Yeah, here's the deal. On that note, God said there would be great exposures, and things in darkness shall come to the light, and those that are inflicting harshness will absolutely be brought to justice.
I should have known. The Bible said this.
Yeah, Lord of Hosts Church, dude. This is another pastor.
Oh, yeah. And this guy's, like I said, this is Hank Kunneman. He is a very famous pastor who claims to be a prophet of God. So just keep that in mind.
And God's righteousness will prevail. But specifically about these banks, God prophesied back in 2021.
Wait a minute. God prophesied? God prophesied in 2021?
Hold on a second. Hold on a minute. Hold on. You are not doing your job right now. You over here. You're not doing your job right now. And I'm going to tell you why you're not doing your job.
Why?
Because we just saw real prophecy. I just called that.
You did. You did. You said he's going to say in some past, you're the prophet. Dutch, the prophet Dutch.
I am the prophet from what rap group was that? Who had the prophet? Was that Gangstar? No. Shit. Who was? I'm thinking of Ja Rule the Damager, but that's
J. Rule the Damager.
Yeah, but that's Ja Rule the Damager. That's.
Are you talking about? No, that's Professor X and Brother J. That's X Clan.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of too. Maybe it was X. There was someone who was called Prophet. Was it Poor Righteous Teachers?
Yeah. He called himself a prophet. Yeah, he called himself a prophet. I don't think his rap name wasn't Prophet, but he referred to himself as Prophet. I'm gonna have to look it up now.
All right. Well, we'll look that up later because I'm sure there's a Simpsons episode and a few rap songs that would have also prophesized this. But anyway, back to Hank. He's got something profound to say. Because I now am the prophet who is I called him saying that.
As well as in 2022. And I want to remind you, Pastor Gene, in Tulsa.
You see what he said? He's like, oh, yeah. Okay. So we talked about this in 2021 and 2022. That's very vague.
So Oklahoma.
Yeah.
When we were there at the Maybe Center, the Spirit of God.
Maybe Center.
God began to say.
The Spirit of God began to say there will be a financial collapse in March of 2023. Is that what, like, God?
Yeah, and sometime in the future, because it's always vague, so that you can have plausible deniability. The members of Poor Righteous Teachers are wise, intelligent, who called himself prophet a lot. Father Shahid and Culture Freedom.
Wait, there was 3?
Yeah.
Why do I only remember 2?
Because I think one was just like the DJ.
Yeah, the DJ always gets fucked.
The DJ always gets fucked.
Yeah. Anyway, power out to the DJs.
That big tech, pharma, all of this would begin to be
That's right.
absolutely go broke. Woke would go broke. But here,
Did he try to drop some bars right there? Woke would go broke.
I called it again. I told you you'd say woke. Woke.
Holy shit.
The only kind of capitalism that is not bulletproof is woke capitalism.
Right?
You heard it here first, folks.
here's what's interesting. He said, watch the great collapses, watch things that fall. And when you see these banks, and
I kind of thought he might have been talking about that earthquake in Syria and Turkey.
Right.
But no, he must have been talking about a bank that nobody heard of until last week.
Had to be because, you know, they just knew. They knew that these banks were going to fail. And they're woke banks because they're tech. Tech equals woke now.
No, I don't even think that. Hold on a second. Let's do some research here. Silicon Valley Bank. All right,
That's the tech bank.
I'm looking this up on another screen.
Yeah.
I just want to look at the Wikipedia page for So I just want to see what like they're like. All right, so Silicon Valley Bank, according to Wikipedia, you can't see my screen, but I'm reading this from a different screen here, listener. Was a state chartered bank. Okay, so it's a California bank. Commercial bank headquartered in Santa Clara, California, that failed on March 10th, 2023, with holdings now managed by the the FDIC. SVB was the 16th largest bank in the U.S. and was the largest bank by deposits in Silicon Valley. SPV operated branches in California and Massachusetts, composed the primary business of SVB Financial Group, is publicly traded holding company, which with other subsidiaries operated offices in 13 additional U.S. states and in over a dozen international jurisdictions. Okay, so all of that is relatively normal for banks. It had become the go-to bank for nearly half of all venture-backed tech startups. Failed after a run on its deposits.
What I need to know is also what caused the run on deposits? Why was there a run on deposits? Nobody's asking this question.
A run on deposits. I'm not an expert on this, but that basically means like a lot of people withdraw their money from a bank in a short
Exactly.
time.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's a fair paraphrasing. Triggered by a series of central bank endorsed interest rate hikes, and the global inflation surge. Now, again, this is according to Wikipedia. The source that Wikipedia gives for that is a September 7th, 2022 sermon by Hank Kuhneman. Just kidding. A article from the Wall Street Journal, and also a article from March 15, 2023 from the Intelligencer. Its regulators seized the bank and placed it into receivership of the FDIC, the second largest bank failure in U.S. history. On March 12th, 2023, a joint statement by Secretary of the Treasury Yellen and Chairman Jerome H. Powell and FDIC Chairman Martin J. Gruenberg, I believe is how you pronounce that, said all deposits at SVB would be fully protected and have access to all of their money, which is good in most cases, including both insured and uninsured deposits starting Monday the 13th. On Monday, the newly created and FDIC administered successor, Silicon Valley Bridge Bank, began operations and assumed ongoing business. So a bridge bank, again, I'm not an expert on this, but that's like when a bank is created by a federal entity, I think is how that would be characterized.
Right.
So let me just see if there's anything in here about their business model. Okay. The bank's customers were primarily businesses and people in the technology, life science, healthcare, private equity, venture capital, and premium wine industries. It was influential among startups in India, being unusually willing to serve C corps whose founders lacked social security numbers. Despite banking a high-tech sector, the bank was criticized for having old technology and lacking biometric authentication. 56% of its loan portfolio were to venture capital firms and private equity firms, which, by the way, if you don't know what those are, they don't have to specifically have anything to do with tech. I work for a venture capital firm because venture capital firms come in and buy up companies in all types of different areas and, try to amalgamate those assets in order to have better capture a segment of business. And
wasn't that the premise of a movie?
Oh, it's been the premise of tons of fucking movies.
And the guy, shit. Oh, Greed. What's the name of that movie with freaking Michael Douglas? He played Gordon Gekko. Wall Street, something like
Wall Street. Yeah.
And it was like he's like, Greed is good.
Yeah.
And
that's one of the great movies, one of the great business movies of all time. That Boiler Room.
Boiler Room was phenomenal.
Yeah,
I love that so
Wall
much.
Street,
yeah.
Suckers, which flies under the radar. It's a big car business movie.
I haven't seen that one.
The greatest business movie of all time, the greatest sales movie ever, Glengarry Glen Ross.
Yeah, always be closing or always be selling.
First place is a brand new Cadillac. Second place, a set of steak knives. Third place, you're fired. But okay, so we have already disproven the fact that this was a bank that was just only for the tech sector, because it says here again, 56% of its loan portfolio were to venture capital firms, which is, and I'm reading a description of that here. Venture capital is a form of private equity financing provided by venture capital firms or funds to startups, early stage and emerging companies. And private equity firms, which are, of course, people who buy up businesses and invest in them and then sell them off to someone else after owning them for like a week. I'm exaggerating, but not by much. So we've just given you some information on that. They're characterizing it as, oh, well, this is the bank of like old Twitter before Elon. Is that like the message you're receiving? What is the message you're receiving on like why this bank is failing from Pastor Hank?
It's that, tech, it's almost like demonizing new technologies and things like that as woke, is because I think that they equate people on the cutting edge of technology as more progressive leaning. So therefore, these tech firms are, creating things that lead us away from Jesus. So,
and into censorship.
Yeah.
All right, Hank, what do you got? I have confidence that you will resurrect yourself.
Big pharma, big tech begin to fall like we're seeing, and even called out and said, you're going to see three.
By the way, the only reason they hate pharma is because of the COVID vaccines. I mean, it's just,
let's
point that out.
Three swift things happen in the Senate. Do you know there are 3 senators right now? They're like, what's going on? And God said, when you see these things, it marks.
Doesn't keep saying God says
not to fear, because
he said there's 3 senators asking what's going on. Like there's
didn't name them though. Didn't say who's saying it.
Well, here's the funny thing. He thinks there's only 3 people in the Senate who noticed this.
Right.
So out of 100 senators, only 3 of them were like, "Oh, well, this is interesting." The other 97 are like playing pinochle.
Right. They don't have a dog in the fight.
That's actually probably somewhat accurate. They probably were playing pinochle with the age of the Senate. But anyway,
falling into place by the hand of God, and it will signal what God has been saying. This is why don't fear as you're watching. It's going to signal what God has been declaring. We are in God's reset. We are in the time of God's great reversal. And as Jericho's walls fell, in Joshua chapter 6, it looked like it was impenetrable. It looked like this children of Israel, this great nation, could never break through,
Right.
that the government.
So he's building an analogy here to say that big tech and big pharma are the big empire standing in the way of God, claiming America as a Christian nation to usher in Armageddon. And don't worry, because God is going to crumble that Jericho down. That's the message I'm receiving here.
It's just crazy, you know.
This
reminds me of my mom, though. This reminds me of my mom. My mom does this a lot.
This is the news people are getting. So let's go back to the other the CNN guys, and let's listen to Robert Reich, who's an actual economist.
So they have monopolies or near monopolies, oligopolies. They are using the opportunity, using inflation as an excuse to put up their prices. So this is at its bottom here. It really is an antitrust monopolization issue. It is not a Fed interest rate problem.
So you suggest that the Fed should stop increasing the interest rate, but if that is the only tool they have, I imagine you're going to correct that assumption. But if that's the only tool they have to try to bring it back down to the 2% rate, that goal, then what else can they do to try to tame inflation, if not increase the interest rate?
Well, first of all, let me just say it's not clear that they have to do anything else. Inflation is starting to come down. Now, we'll find out more Tuesday when the inflation report, the consumer price increase report, inflation report will be coming out. But as of what we know now, inflation is slowing slightly. And the key here is the direction. If inflation were increasing, that would be one thing. But if inflation is starting to slow down, if we're seeing it going in the right direction, then it's not clear that the Fed has got to keep raising interest rates and risking a recession that's going to hurt everybody.
Okay.
Increasing fallout following the.
We'll keep it going here for a second because I want to hear what TYT has to say about that. Are you good with that?
Sure.
All right.
Historic collapse of Silicon Valley Bank.
Are you an Etsy seller and didn't get paid today? Neither did I.
The demise of the nation's 16th largest bank, and once a titan in the world of tech startups, wreaking havoc, including for sellers who use e-commerce site Etsy. The company acknowledging some users aren't getting paid because it distributed money through SVB.
Yeah, well, that's a problem.
Silicon Valley Bank, where many tech startups had deposited their money and did their banking, collapsed over the weekend and is now taken over by the FDIC.
Just curiously, how does a bank collapse when it's closed over the weekend? Is that weird?
Yeah.
The same thing happened with this. What was it? The cryptocurrency that
Bitcoin.
No, the one
It's about Coinbase,
like FXQ or whatever the fuck it was called, or FHQ. That
I know what you're talking about.
the one that had to deal with the weird name, like
the one time Brady was hawking, and then it kind of
yes, and Matt Damon and all those guys, yeah, and it like that one failed over the weekend too. Like it like they just like hey, Friday, everybody, the boss goes, well, folks, have a great weekend.
Right.
Bang up job this week. And then Monday you go back into work and they're like,
ain't no work.
There is no work anymore.
The doors is closed.
Sorry, we gave ourselves a golden parachute, but you guys, you're all fucked. Go talk to the unemployment office.
When they start giving out those sudden bonuses, you got to look around.
Yeah. Oh, we've unscheduled bonus for the top 10 people in the company today. But pay no mind.
the federal government has stated that all depositors will be made whole, including those who had more than the FDIC insured $250,000 deposited in the bank. And I'll explain why they made that decision in just a moment, including why the bank collapsed in the first place. Now, it's important to understand that there's a difference between taking care of the depositors and bailouts for the investors for the bank.
Right.
There will be no bailouts for the investors for the bank, okay? This only has to do with companies that had deposited money into the bank, which has now collapsed. So this was done to prevent more bank runs and a complete collapse of the US banking system. But what went wrong in the first place? Why did the bank collapse? Well, last week, Silicon Valley Bank announced that it had sold some government bonds, okay? So SVB said it had sold 21 billion in securities at a loss of about 1.8 billion after tax. It also set out to raise about 2.25 billion in capital. Now, what happens with banks typically is depositors deposit money into the bank and then the bank invests that money. Now, in this case.
Okay, so real quick, TYT's reporting is not always perfect, but you notice the difference that you're getting here between Victory News and even with CNN. Like CNN did a decent job of explaining this with Robert Reich, but like sometimes you have to have a rudimentary understanding in order to capture the, the nuance that he's talking about. I like the way that she's like breaking it down for the novice to say, here's a fluid way to understand this. That's not to say that she'll be precisely correct.
But she's trying to say, this is what this is. This is what this is, instead of God says that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would love to hear Pastor Hank talk about that. I think we'll have to put that on the list of future digs to do. Is like how God predicted everything ever bad to happen weeks before.
Right.
Anyway, Anna, what do you got?
Case, SVB decided to invest its money in what is typically thought of as safe investments, right? Government bonds. But when interest rates went up, the value of those bonds went down. And as tech companies needed money and were withdrawing money, Silicon Valley Bank did not have the liquidity necessary to provide the cash for the withdrawals. So that is why they had to sell those government bonds in order to have the capital necessary to provide the money that the depositors wanted through their withdrawals. I have more details on this and what went wrong in just a moment, but Cenk, so far, any thoughts?
Yeah, tons of thoughts. So I want to explain a couple of critical parts of why this happened. And then of course we're going to get to what the correct course of action is and why it's the correct course of action. First of all, Silicon Valley Bank had tons of startups in it, which means that about 95% of its money was not insured. Because if you have a lot of retail clients, Bob and Joe and Sally, they're all insured because they're under $250,000. But a lot of the businesses are not insured because they're above $250,000. They have a lot of money above that they put into the bank. Now, the part that nobody's talking about is that what's triggered all of this in the first place was that VCs stopped giving money to startups, okay? And part of the reason they stopped giving money is because of the interest rates in the first place. Higher interest rates leads to a different financial equation for whether you fund startups or not. So the startups had to use more of the money that they had in the bank. So now money's starting to go out of the bank, right? No problem, they put it in safe treasuries, as Anna told you, right? The problem is because of higher interest rates, the treasuries went up. The interest rates go up, and they're the ones that they have at lower interest rates, when they go to sell it, they lose money on. Exactly. They still get money, they still get assets, right? To be able to pay their depositors, but they've lost some amount of money from them. Then they are forced because of the amount of money.
I'm gonna push back on that just ever so slightly. I think generally the way that I understand this, and I'm not an economist, but I think the way I would have phrased that is that they lose profit. Like I think it's less. They're not necessarily bringing in the profit margins necessary to fund those deposits, because when you deposit money into a bank, the bank can then give out a loan based on that amount of money. So if they're not giving out as many loans, this is the part where I would want like Swede to break this down to me, because
that's why I was hoping we could get them. But
if they're not giving out as many loans because the rates are higher, the monies inside of the bank would, they wouldn't necessarily change the way that I see it, because like if you and I started a bank, and this is just simple breakdown here, and somebody gave us $1,000 deposit, like we'd be able to give out, like, I don't know what the exact number is, but like we could give out like $2,000 in loans, right? Based on that $1,000 of deposits, right? So, and if someone else came in the next day and said, I'm going to deposit $2,000 more, then now we can give out,
4, 5,
$6,000 in loans. And if then they come in and they say, I want to withdraw all my money, and they both leave $10 in there. Now we only have $20 in the bank, so we can only give out like $30 in new loans, right? So like it's set up on an equation similar to that. So I'd want to understand like the cause effect relationship of withdrawal, because the way that I understand it, it would only affect new loans, not loans they already had in place. So, but anyway, I'll leave that for another. Am I making sense? Is what I'm saying?
Kind of. It's I when it comes to financial stuff, I sometimes have to listen to it a few times before I could truly process it. You know what I mean? Because I like to be on point.
That's why I'm glad we don't have
in my understanding
checkbooks anymore. My Chase does it for me.
Yeah.
That they have lost because of this economic condition, to go raise a little bit more capital. That's when word hits the street and panic starts.
Exactly.
At that point, the same VCs turn around and they tell all their startups, get your money out of the bank. We got a run coming. And 42 billion pours out, and then we're going to tell you the rest of the story.
Exactly. As the Wall Street Journal reported, venture capital firms reportedly began advising their portfolio companies to withdraw deposits from Silicon Valley Bank. On Thursday, March 9th, customers tried to withdraw 42 billion worth of deposits, about a quarter of the bank's total, according to a filing by California regulators. It ran out of cash. So there was a bank run due to panic.
So basically, venture capitalist investors caused this run, which caused the bank to fail.
That's the way that's what I'm hearing. No, it can't be that. It's woke churches.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because I mean, if venture capitalist investors hadn't told these startups, hey, get all your money out, then what happens?
I'm not convinced. It's got to be woke. Something woke has to be at blame here. I think we just haven't identified which.
Get all your money out. Now, if they had said take all your money out and buy guns with them, then the Victory News Channel and everybody would be totally fine with this.
No, they just wouldn't have reported on it.
This would be preparing for God's return.
It would have been it would have been cancel culture. Somehow. You see, they always have a way out. There's always a way out. It's astonishing, but okay, back to Anna.
And as a result, the federal government had to step in. Now, over the weekend, there was a lot of confusion. There were a lot of questions as to what would happen to the depositors who were not insured, right? And so Janet Yellen kind of gave, Treasury Secretary, of course, gave a mixed signal about it. But what's now come out is that they will, in fact, make all depositors whole, but they will not bail out any investors, which I personally think is the right way to go.
I totally agree with that. Not to say I want investors to lose money, but generally speaking, you get into investing with that risk. You don't get to win every time.
Right.
I'll explain why in a moment, but to summarize, the Federal Reserve's
can you imagine if they bailed out gamblers?
Right.
I'm gonna bet my life savings on black, and if I lose, they'll bail me out.
I want my money back.
But I have to bet enough. Like if I only bet, if I have take all 6 of my paychecks that I've saved up to try to pay for my kids' medical bills, and I have like $17,000, and I go and this is my life savings, and I go and I put it on black and I lose, I'm fucked. But if I am a billionaire and I say, you know what, I'm gonna bet fucking $500 million on black, and then I lose, now I'm getting bailed out.
Gotta love it, right?
Right.
Sharp and decisive interest rate hikes played a role in a few ways. They reduced the value of the bonds on SVB's books and spurred depositors to withdraw money from the institution as the tech industry cooled. The venture capitalists who made SVB such a big deal in the first place also played a role in egging startups to pull their funds from the institution. Okay.
Pause.
Now, the bank made some.
So, what SVB executive fooled around with what venture capitalist's wife or girlfriend or boyfriend to cause this to happen? Because this sounds like some personal shit to me.
Maybe.
Sound like some P shit. I'm gonna fuck your bank up since you did that to my wife or my husband or my boyfriend or my girlfriend.
That's speculation, but okay, I allow it.
It is. But I mean, does it not sound like some? Why would venture capitalists all of a sudden say, "Hey, get your money out the bank"? I mean, just because SVB,
I think it was
because they got the bonds.
Financial advisors didn't they say financial advisors were urging venture capitalists to take their money out of the bank? So like they're trying to protect their clients who are the venture capitalists, who are the ones basically flipping businesses like, a real estate investor might flip houses.
Also, too, who stands to gain from this? These startups that pulled their money out of the bank, where did this money go? What banks did they go to? Did it go to a select few banks? Did it go all over the place? Did it go to one bank?
I would imagine it probably was a eclectic mix there.
I'm just saying, who stands to gain? Because the startups pull this money, they don't put it in the mattress. Where do they put it?
They definitely don't put it in the mattress. Probably into stock buybacks of their own companies is what I would guess.
I wonder if bigger banks than SVB gained a lot of new deposits.
Oh yeah,
the Chases of the world and such.
I don't think there's any question of that. I would say that it was, distributed. So I would have also ventured to guess that most of those companies have multiple bank accounts, right? So like,
right.
They probably have accounts in different places or investments in different places. So, but they pull it out, and it's not like they pull out the cash and like it's going into like you said, it's not going into their wallet. Like,
right.
They're not walking around with $41 billion worth of, Benjamin Franklin's.
Right.
They're wiring it to somewhere.
I wonder where. That's interesting to me.
Maybe we'll get an answer to that.
Some pretty terrible decisions. And in the lead up to what transpired, the collapse, they had lobbied hard and succeeded in loosening certain banking regulations.
Oh, you don't say.
That would force them to have capital on hand, right? Enough liquidity on hand to deal with a situation like this. So we'll get to those details, but here are some of
I think that's what I was talking about before with having, a certain amount of your deposits is the first number in the equation of how many loans you can give out. So it's like the number of deposits you have cash in your bank at that time times X equals the amount of loans you can give out. I'm not sure what X is, but I think that's what she's referring to.
So we got to solve for X.
Other things they did. Their clientele was not diversified. They mainly focused on the tech industry, the tech sector, and look at what happened to the tech sector in recent months, right? It's been gutted.
Okay, but I don't think she researched the research that we even did there, because we just literally looked and that was not accurate. it may not be diversified to the same extent as, say, Bank of America. I think maybe that's a fair characterization.
Right.
But it certainly was diversified, because it said 56% were in private capital or venture capital firms. Although, just based on where it's at,
Mm-hmm.
it that probably has something to do with the demographics of those depositing money into it. So anyway, what do you got, Anna?
Significantly. And so the tech sector went from depositing a lot of money into the banks to all of a sudden needing to withdraw a lot of money from the banks. So that played a role as well. So the banks were pretty flush with cash.
Okay, I see what she means there. So like all those people probably had a common ally who told them all at the same time, yo, time to pull out. We don't want we don't want to knock anybody up.
At one point, for instance, SVP focused on the tech sector because they went from having $60 billion in deposits in 2020 to more than $200 billion in deposits by 2022. Now, the bank's investments also were not diversified. It invested heavily into government bonds, but to be quite honest with you, if it had invested in other investment vehicles, I don't know if that would have worked out well for them either.
Maybe a little diversity would have helped, but overall, that wasn't the major issue. The interest rates moving was a major issue, but I don't think that they had particularly risky investments.
And the bank, by the way, was already in trouble before the bank run because, again, when interest rates increased, depositors started looking for banks that offered higher interest rates as well. So that's another part of this story. So, for instance, if you go to one of the big banks, right, whether it's JP Morgan Chase, if you go to, I don't know, a Bank of America, their savings accounts pay you nothing in interest, okay? The smaller banks are a little more attractive to people who are looking to save, or companies that want to deposit their money, because they will offer you an interest rate. So there's one place that I bank at, it's not one of these big banks, and it offers a 4% interest rate on my savings account. Pretty sweet. Why wouldn't I put my money there? Of course, it's FDIC insured. I do not have more than $250,000 in that account, not even close. But you guys get the point. So all of a sudden, you also have this issue with Silicon Valley Bank trying to keep up with the competition by offering higher interest rates to depositors. Now, what happens now? The FDIC, as I mentioned, has made it clear that all depositors will be made whole, and I think that was the right way to go. Before I explain why I think that was the right way to go, Cenk, why don't you jump in?
Yeah, so look, guys, let's be clear about a couple of things. First of all, no way to bailouts for the bankers. And so why would we give them anything, let alone bonuses or the insanity that happened in 2008, right? So no way to shareholders of the company, you took a risk, that's called capitalism. There goes your money, and it should be, okay? You executives, likewise, maybe even worse. Okay, so the depositors. So some people were like, hey, above $250,000, ha 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 ha, sad day for you. No. Guys, think about it, right? So let's say there's a company and they're an SVB and they've got, let's say that they're a small to mid-sized company, they got $10 million in the bank. So they're gonna lose $9,750,000. Well, guess what's gonna happen? They're bankrupt instantly, right? They have no money. They literally have no money to pay anyone. So the next time payroll comes up, they have to tell all their workers, sorry, but you're all fired because we literally have no money. So it's not a ha-ha situation. Now, it could have affected up to 5 million jobs. It wouldn't have been that many because some found a way to get their money back and there would have been some avenues, but tons and tons of jobs would have been lost. That's totally true. Okay, now the second part of it, I think, is equally important. If you say depositors are not safe at small to mid-sized banks, every business in the world is not gonna go, oh, maybe I lose all my money. No, they're all gonna run.
Pause.
They're gonna, that's a fantastic point, actually.
If you say, well, too bad, so sad because your bank wasn't big enough, all these small banks got die because nobody's going to go to them unless they offer exorbitantly high interest rates, which further puts them in debt at risk of failing. So can't do that. You cannot do that. And I'm really glad that they said, hey, investors, you gambled, you lost. because I know for my stocks and bonds, if I gamble and the stock goes down, I lose. You know, I lose some money. So it's the risk you take, and that's that. But for these people who are trying to, to sum it up, I'm glad that the little person didn't necessarily get royally screwed in this.
Yeah, and it's funny because like people in our area of the political spectrum seem to be the only ones who have the best interests of small to mid-sized businesses at heart. Like that's why it's astonishing to me that like more small to mid-sized businesses don't advocate for borderline socialist policies. Like because while we don't necessarily want you to make ghastly amounts of money that are going to further the economic inequality, like the income and wealth inequalities within this country. We want to see you pay your employees a fair wage, and but also we don't believe that you, as a small to mid-sized business, should have to pay for health insurance for your employees. I don't believe that you should have to pay for health insurance for your employees. I think that everybody should have health insurance. And no, you're on mute. No, nobody would benefit more from single payer than small to mid-sized businesses.
Oh, think about it.
Nobody.
Think about what they could do with wages if they didn't have to pay health insurance for people.
Jeez.
Think what you could do with wages. Think what you could do as far as perks and things that contribute to the work-life balance. Think about the number of on-site childcare facilities you could add with the money you save, hypothetically, with the money you save. Could you imagine the amount of people that would enter the workforce if they could, because the place they want to work at allows them to bring their 2-year-old and drop them off at the daycare that's on site?
Well, not only enter the workforce, but venture out on your own and try to start your own business.
Right.
One of the reasons why we don't do that very frequently in this country is because of the fact that you don't have health insurance, not only for yourself, but
for your potential employees and your family.
Yeah. So it makes it is a huge barrier to access.
Yeah, that's one of the major things that helps me do what I do, is because my wife has a job where she can carry me on her health insurance while I run my business.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I don't have to go out and try to find private health insurance and pay that amount and over. I mean, that's almost like if I had a brick and mortar place, that would be the lease payment. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that helps out a ton. But if we had single payer, we wouldn't even have to worry about that, and it wouldn't, like, if I was a single person, then guess what? I probably could not be in business for myself.
Yeah, and right. The other piece of that though is that, like, a lot of chuds will say that but they're the business will have to pay more in taxes than they have to pay in the cost of single payer. Well, that's only true in the case of like the Amazons of the world, because like if Dig on America were to go today and we're going to say, okay, we're just going to start paying everyone a salary, and when we start making money, we'll make money. Great. So like we all have our salary, we all have our our health insurance, but like the health insurance costs that we have is going to be a standard rate based on the amount of employees that we have, right? Like you have more buying power, the more people that you have. You're still paying more with 100 people than you are with 4, but you're paying less per person, generally speaking. You're getting, you pay as a group, and group buying power, that sort of thing. But if you start making more money and you're raking in millions and millions of dollars, then yeah, you might end up paying more than you would if you were only raking in, 500,000 a year or something like that for your business. But once you get to that dollar amount, then those differences start to become very minimal. Like it's like, if it's almost like you say to someone, hey, let's say that you have hypothetical business A, and hypothetical business A has a net profit after they pay out their employees and their, and everything like that, except for health benefits. You have a net profit of $300,000 a year. Your business is net. That's the net profits of your business, right? And then out of that $350,000, you have to pay your 15 employees health insurance benefits, right? So it's X dollars. And you were to say, okay, well, that X dollars might be 14% of your total amount of the total net profit that you have. And then you go and say, okay, well, would you rather pay that 14%, or would you rather maybe pay 22% after you get to $1 million? But when you do the math, you're still way better off making $1 million and paying 22% than you are at making $200,000 and paying 14%. I'm just throwing arbitrary numbers out there. These numbers aren't based on anything. I'm just setting an example with,
So don't fact check us on that.
Yeah. No, it's accurate. It's just not. It's not accurate in that. Like that. This example is. I'm just throwing pretend numbers out there, right? But like I'm just talking about the psychology behind it, right? Like the this plus this minus this equals this. And it's. I mean, there's no. It's almost like, well, I'll give you another example. So if Jeff Bezos were taxed at 98%. and I were taxed at 0%, I'd still rather have Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'd rather have his daily income, because even though I was at 0%, his 2% is countless times more than mine 100%.
Right.
Now, am I,
because we're talking about,
am I arguing from extremes? Yes. But but it's still the same idea, in that, I'm just making a very extreme example, to make it very clear. So, all right, I'm going to move us on because we don't have a lot of time.
We don't.
We got to go to the humidor. However, I want to talk about one real quick thing.
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers is a little bitch.
He's a big bitch.
Like Aaron Ivermectin Rodgers. Like,
love it.
The Jets. So as of the time we went live, I hadn't seen that he'd signed with the Jets yet. He's saying that he's decided to play for them. He's following Brett Favre's footsteps, like to the T's.
Oh, to the T.
The situation is just remarkably the same. In that, they have Jordan Love on the bench for 3 years, just like Rodgers on the bench for 3 years. It's remarkably similar. Even Packers to Jets is remarkably similar.
Right.
But so he's like, oh, you guys got to go sign my BFFs.
Yeah.
And Mercedes Lewis. They're looking
and
at
Lazard.
Mercedes Lewis. They've already signed Lazard. And now, all due respect to Lazard, he's a solid middle of the road guy. He's not a superstar.
Right.
But like, how the fuck does Alan Lazard get 4 years, $44 million, and Juju Smith-Schuster, who I would argue is a better receiver than Lazard throughout his career, at the same age, he gets 3 years, $33 million? How the fuck is Lazard worth
another year and another 11 million?
Yeah, that makes no sense. I'm not saying that Juju Smith-Schuster is way better than Lazard. I'm just saying I would prefer. I can't imagine somebody saying they'd rather have Lazard than Schuster, given 1-to-1 choice.
Right.
But so they bring him in, they overpay him, arguably. Now they're looking to bring in Mercedes Lewis. I'm like, what's next? Are the Jets going to bring in fucking Joe Rogan to be the strength and conditioning coach too. So I mean, are they gonna write a letter to Danica Patrick to say, oh, he misses you, please come back,
or Olivia Munn, one of the two?
Oh, definitely Olivia Munn in that equation. But it's close.
Wow.
But I
wow.
Olivia Munn by a nose. But the point is, they're bending over backwards to like give this guy, this diva, every single possible, little ask that this little snowflake has. Can you imagine Patrick Mahomes with 2 Super Bowl championships and another 2 MVPs and a Super Bowl that he went to and lost in a fourth of the time of Rodgers' career? Can you imagine Patrick Mahomes getting any of this treatment whatsoever from another team when this happens later to him?
Come on, man. Come on, man. You know that this wouldn't happen. You know that this would happen. You know that we can see what would happen in the case of Lamar Jackson. You can see what'll happen. You can see what'll happen. Man, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. We'd rather trade you, even though you're a top 5 quarterback. We'd rather trade you, for asking what you're worth, for being paid in the top 5.
And I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. Aaron Rodgers is going to go to the Jets. He's going to be mediocre as usual.
Or he'll be okay, and then in the playoffs, he'll find a way to fuck it off.
And I mean, I'm not making an argument here that Aaron Rodgers sucks. Okay?
No.
But that's not Aaron Rodgers is a great, all-time great quarterback. He's in the top 10% of quarterbacks of all time. No question about it. However, that doesn't mean I'm a babysit you like a little bitch. Like it's there. And what's going to happen, and this happens to Brady too. This is like, I admit Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback. I begrudgingly admit Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback in NFL history. However, it is infuriating to hear all these announcers chug his pole.
Oh my God, they break their knee pads out and skin flute them all the time. Look at that. Oh, and even when he throws the ball, such a smart play by Tom Brady to throw the ball in the dirt. This last year, when he was strictly throwing the ball in the dirt instead of taking one on the chin and making the throw to the tight end over the middle because he didn't want to get hit anymore.
It was remarkable. Like you would see, like, and look, Justin Fields doesn't deserve to be mentioned in the same breath as Aaron Rodgers yet.
Not yet. No.
However,
right. I agree.
You would the difference in how announcers would talk about Justin Fields and Aaron Rodgers when they made the same mistake was like, well, Justin Fields is young, he's got to learn, et cetera, and that's true. But then with Aaron Rodgers, it's always someone else's fault.
Oh yeah, I've seen that where Justin Fields will make a throw, the receiver kind of short arms it because the safety's coming. Oh, he's got to make that throw. Freaking the same thing happens.
And that's true. He does have to make that throw.
Right.
But when Rodgers does it, they're like, oh, the receiver broke.
The receiver stopped running because the receiver saw the safety and he kind of flinched.
Aaron must be sad because of Olivia Munn.
Yeah. Or the quarter, like Justin Fields, to throw the ball about 2 feet high, and the receiver's got to make a great catch to make the catch. Oh, that was a blatant overthrow. And then, the receiver's got to make that catch if it's Rodgers throwing the ball or Brady throwing the ball.
I wouldn't be
especially with Brady. I saw Brady throw a lot of bad passes that were obviously overthrown, and the receivers having to do all like this and reach out for the ball and stuff.
He had a terrible fucking year last year.
Yes, but you couldn't tell. No, you couldn't tell by the way the broadcasters were on him.
Well, because nothing's his fault, and that's the same with Rodgers. Like Rodgers, Brady, Manning. Only Peyton, not Eli. I feel bad for Eli because I think Eli was a better quarterback than people give him credit for. But
I would agree with that. I would say that he's a better quarterback than he's historically going to get credit for. Yes.
Yeah, they're like, well, he won 2 Super Bowls, and that's the only reason. But like Eli Manning was a really solid quarterback. I'm not sure he should be a Hall of Famer, but like
You can't win 2 Super Bowls in the way and beat the Patriot and beat Brady both times. You beat Brady both times.
Yeah, but I just don't see him being. I don't think Eli Manning was ever a top 4 quarterback during his time in the league, so that makes it hard for you to sell to me the Hall of Fame.
2 rings
argument.
and that amazing throw to Mario Manningham where he threw it down the chimney to Mario Manningham on the sideline. Some would argue that was a better catch than throw, but that throw was fucking amazing and that catch was amazing.
And I mean, part of this is because, and I understand the steroid piece of it, but like, believe me, I understand the steroid piece of it, but like the fact that Eli, and it's a different sport.
Yeah.
But the fact that Eli Manning is in the Hall of Fame and Sosa, McGuire, and Clemens are not,
it's crazy to me.
Is just I can't wrap my head around that. Like, yes, I get this. I get the performance enhancing drugs thing, but 90% of baseball is on PEDs.
And if you think they're not on PEDs in football,
oh yeah,
you're crazy.
They don't test it as rigorously as baseball is. But
right,
okay.
you can't have a sport that violent with that amount of injuries and trot these people out week after week and think that they're not on something that's helping them heal amazingly fast.
Right. Okay. So do me two quick things before we get to the humidor, and then we'll go right into it. Your thoughts, just your final thoughts on the Aaron Rodgers like babysitting bullshit, and then the Bears trade, which I think is a fucking haul. Like,
oh, okay.
I don't know if you saw that or not, but
yeah. When they traded away that first pick.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. We'll talk about Rodgers first.
Yeah, the big house breakdown on Aaron Rodgers being babysat.
The Aaron Rodgers coddling, nut holding piece. And I think that you get what you pay for. And I think that what the Jets are going to find when they get this man in-house is that his arrogance and aloofness and abrasiveness and unwillingness to is he going to go to OTAs and develop a relationship with these receivers, because it was evident that he did not, and it was shown on the field that he did not have a relationship with the receivers until what, 3/4 of the way through the season?
Yeah, and as soon as he got it, Christian Watson became a superstar.
Exactly. But if he had gone to OTAs, if he had gone to workouts, if he had picked up the phone and said, hey, welcome to the team, this is when we're throwing, this is where we're throwing, we're going to throw 3 days a week, blah, 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 before OTAs. But the thing is that they could have hit the ground running, but he didn't do that. So I think that the Jets are going to find that the reasons the Packers are so willing to get rid of him, you're inheriting problems. Teams don't want to get rid of transcendent talent unless there's a lot of fucking baggage.
And he is a transcendent talent.
Yes, I 100% agree.
Aaron Rodgers sucks conversation.
Exactly. This is an Aaron Rodgers personality and level of entitlement question.
We're not going to pull a Kaepernick here and say and make an argument that he's bad quarterback because we don't like his politics.
No,
we don't like his politics, but he's a fantastic quarterback. As
you've noticed, I haven't talked about his politics. I talked about his sense of entitlement and the baggage that he's bringing. And in a place like the Packers, I don't think that they're sold on Jordan Love. I think that they're so sick. I think they're so sick of fucking having to babysit him and kowtow to all these demands that they're like, fuck that. And I think that what the Jets sat down and did, their brass sat down and said, is the juice worth the squeeze? We've been bereft of real transcendent talent at quarterback for so long that yes, we're willing to do this.
Clear bust.
Yeah. So that's what's going to happen. Now, as far as the Bears.
Oh, and just real quick, one closing comment for me on that. I hope the Jets are ready because anything that goes good is going to be on Aaron Rodgers, and anything bad is their fault.
Exactly.
So Aaron Rodgers will never be the scapegoat.
Oh, of course not. Never.
So,
he'll never
anyway.
step up and say, I got to play better.
No. All right. Anyway, Bears, go.
The Bears, clap, 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 specifically on the haul that they got. You get 2 first rounders, you get 2 second rounders, you get another pick, and you get a nice number 1 piece.
Yeah, I can't oversell the piece. I'm actually more excited about DJ Moore than I am about any of the rest of that trade.
This dude put together 3 consecutive 1,100 yard seasons with a menagerie. When we say a buffet of mediocre talent throwing him the ball, I am not lying. Cam Newton was 2 steps down.
Yeah, this was not good, Cam.
No, this was descending Cam when he first got there as a rookie. And then when he came back, this was a carcass formerly known as Cam Newton.
Okay. Still wearing a purple fedora.
Yeah. I mean, you can wear what you want. You wear what you want. But when you step between the lines, we can tell that you are a old fucking dude playing the ball.
There's plenty of times where I look at Cam Newton and I will not say you can wear what the fuck you want. That man wears some.
Hey, you wouldn't wear it.
Those outfits.
You wouldn't wear it, and I wouldn't wear most of his stuff. But he could wear it, and with his confidence and swag, I guess he could pull it off. And also, who he is. Like you and I, John Q. Public, can't walk around like that.
No,
we can't walk around like Russell Westbrook walk around.
And just so you know that I'm not just saying this because it's the black guy. Gardner Minshew is equally as fucking insane.
Yeah.
Have you seen some of the fucking outfits that Gardner Minshew will fucking
yeah.
Fucking say? I mean, it's
yeah, and not to go too far off on a tangent, but I love how they roast and skewer Cam Newton and others for wearing what they wear. But when Joe Burrow wears something similar, it's all good.
Yeah, that's of course. But the but so here's why I love this trade for the Bears.
Yes,
I was skeptical that they were going to get as much as people thought they were going to get, and I'm going to tell you why I was skeptical of it. The Bears, there are the first 4 picks in the draft. Are probably going to be a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Bears don't need a quarterback, and neither does Arizona because they have Kyler Murray. Even though he's going to be hurt,
even though he's coming off injury, he won't be back till later in the season.
Yeah, they'll sign like I thought they were going to get Mike White, but he went to Miami, and a great move by Miami, by the way.
Yeah, I think Mike White's
Mike White's a super solid backup quarterback.
Yeah.
But
I just saw that the Bears signed PJ Walker too.
Oh,
from Carolina.
That's he probably because he has a decent rapport with DJ.
Yeah, and also he's a mobile type of quarterback too.
Yes. So the point though is that Carolina the second pick is Houston, thanks to Lovie Smith, and the 4th pick is Indianapolis. Both of them need quarterbacks. You had 4 you always had Stroud and Young who were going to be the first 2 picks in the draft in all likelihood.
Right.
But then you add to that Will Levis and Anthony Richardson from Florida blew up the combine. So now you have.
But you know what? I'm hearing that Levis is kind of sliding a little bit.
Levis is going to be a top 4 pick. And definitely these guys are going to go top 5 because Seattle's sitting there at 5th. Geno Smith is a nice QB. But let's not pretend that we know that that's going to be.
He's a definite bridge. He's a definite bridge signing. Yeah, because even if he has a few good years left, it's not enough. Yeah,
it'd be stupid to pass up on Richardson or Levis at 5 if they're lucky that one falls them. But I believe that just to get back to the Bears, I believe Arizona is going to trade that pick, especially after what the Bears got. So I think they're going to either trade it to Washington or Indianapolis will move up a spot, and then Arizona might trade back again. But there's going to be another trade there. So that tells it. So if now that you have 4 quarterbacks, I guess the point is this: an increase in supply equals lower price, right?
Right.
So I was like, okay, well, 4 quarterbacks, the Bears probably won't get as much for one, especially since there's not like a Trevor Lawrence or a Peyton Manning of this group where it's the clear number 1 guy.
Right.
There's arguments to be made for 3 of them. But I was like, that's going to hurt the Bears. Didn't hurt the Bears at all. I was completely wrong. The most beautiful part about this is that they got the 9th pick. So
they're still in the top 10.
They're still in the top 10, but the Bears need offensive line.
Yes.
The number 1, then there's 2 offensive linemen in this draft who are potential difference makers, but neither of them was forecasted to be worth any pick higher than 7. And so it was like the 7 to 13 range. They're in a fantastic position to address the number 1 need on the team because we cannot let Fields be killed.
Facts.
Right. So they'll be able to get one of these 2 offensive linemen, theoretically speaking, with that 9th pick and have it be where they're not picking him way too early just to address a need, but picking a guy that should have gone 14th with the 7th pick.
Right.
The 9th pick is going to be right about where they would go anyway. And if you move up by a pick or whatever, you're fine with Paris Johnson or dude from Northwestern. I forget his name. So that's great. And then DJ Moore means that you don't have to address wide receiver in the draft because DJ is still young, and you get a number 1 pick next year, which might be a top 5.
Right. And then also think of it like this too. Because they got so many picks, if a top receiver or a really good receiver that you're high on falls to you, you feel okay taking that because you have so many picks, or you package some picks and get somebody in a trade on draft day too.
They could. Yeah.
So I think that it's amazing what they did. I think it's a mistake they let David Montgomery go.
Boy, who's starting in Detroit, him or Swift?
Oh, it'll be Swift and Jamal Williams. If Jamal Williams is a free agent, though.
Yeah, he's not coming back there.
I don't think he's coming back. So it'll be Swift, then Montgomery. I think Swift has a little bit more breakaway speed than Montgomery. But Montgomery, what I'm worried about with Khalil Herbert is pass protection. He struggled in pass protection. So unless he is really working on his pass protection and catching the ball out of the backfield, it's going to be a net minus because they signed that dude, Travis Homer, from Seattle.
He's a special teams player.
He's like unless they see something in him that I wasn't able to see in the limited times I saw him.
Here's the good news, though. You're in a running back rich draft in which you have
True.
a plethora of picks. So they will easily be able to pick up
Bijan Robinson, maybe. No, they won't get Bijan Robinson, but
they're, theoretically, you could take him at 9, but you need an offensive lineman there.
No, you need to go offensive line. They're addressing defense through free agency, it looks like.
Well, Bijan's going to go number 1, and then dude from Alabama is going to go number
one running back. Number 1 running back.
Jamar Gibbs will be gone before the Bears pick at 16.
Yeah.
But and I still am pissed that they gave up the 2-1 for Claypool. But again,
you know what? We'll see what Claypool does with a full offseason under his belt, and hopefully some good coaching. And Mooney's coming back.
Claypool
and you got Kmet.
Is not bad, and with Kmet, So
you think of it like this: top 3 receivers, Moore, Claypool, Mooney, or Mooney, Claypool, and then you got Kmet. That's a great way to stretch the defense.
Yeah,
and
then they've picked up some assets on the defensive side of the ball. So
they've got 2 of the top 5 rated linebackers.
So you have a first round pick, you have 2 second round picks because we have Carolina's and Baltimore's.
Yep.
And then I want to say they have a 3rd round pick as well. So you can easily pick up a running back in one of those top 4 picks.
Oh yeah.
Not with the first pick, but probably with the second pick. You go deep on offensive line. You take at least 2, if not 3 offensive linemen.
Yes.
You can definitely get a running back in this draft. In a year that you need a running back, this is the year to need a running back because this draft is historic in the potential amount of difference makers at running back that there are there. So, dude from Illinois, you have Tank Bigsby, you have, Zach Evans, you have a lot of decent running backs out there. So
Right.
it'll be an interesting offseason. So we'll talk more about that as we go on. In the meantime, however, we got to get the fuck up out of here. So we will go to everyone's favorite part of the show. Once I find the music. Hey, Mikey's in the chat. What's up, Mikey? Says your volume's too loud.
Welcome to the Humidor with Big Haas. Find out what Haas is puffing and drinking tonight. If you try his suggestion and you die, that is natural selection. And the DOA podcast is not responsible for you being weak fucking sauce. So now, the one, the only, Big Haas.
Now that Jenna's got us all going with her silky voice.
That's right. That's right.
What do we got today?
You know what? Programming note. I know that I have been trying to focus on the Black-owned, minority-owned brands with the humidors, but I'll be smoking up all my good shit. So I probably will be alternating weeks on smoking those because those are very limited supply. So, and I want to let them age more. So last week I went with the Black-owned brand, Marvani's. This week I went to the tried and true brand with the blend that I hadn't tried before. So you're still getting some new shit. I am smoking on CAO. We all know I love the CAO lines, the CAO blends, but this is the BX3. BX3. So
D as in dog or B as in boy?
B as in boy X3. It's part of a series that they run. They have an MX2. They have a couple other in the X line that I've had. I didn't like the MX2 when it first came out, but I had one and I aged it and smoked it again, and I liked that. Aged for a while, about 6 months. But this is the BX3. Okay, and if you take a look here, you can see it's a nice milk chocolate brown texture. If you look here, you can see a big split, right? Let me turn the light on. You can see that split there, right? Oh, right there. So that is because I got this cigar a couple days ago. Okay, so it hasn't really aged well. I thought it would be okay, but I was wrong. So it's mostly my fault. I should have let it acclimate to my humidor a little bit longer. That's very important. When you buy a cigar, whether it comes in the mail or you buy it from a shop, it's tuned to their settings of their humidors, or it's been going through climates. Like if you order from certain places that are on the East or West Coast, when you get those, don't open them up necessarily and smoke them right away because they need to acclimate to your humidor, your area, and your settings. Because
so what you're saying is you want to treat them like a goldfish. You don't just throw them in the new water.
Right. You got to let them acclimate. And I did not let this one acclimate enough. So this is my fault. Okay. So the BX3, I used the Colibri Deep V cut. Has a pretty good draw, pretty good construction. As you can see the little circles in the ash there. That is one of the telltale ways that you can see that a cigar has good construction, because sometimes when you get a poorly constructed cigar, as it ashes, it actually expands out and looks like if you're looking at an octopus go away from you, and how the tentacles go like that.
Yeah, that happens all the time. Yeah.
So well, if you like me and you watch a lot of nature stuff, then yeah. Vic Striker, yeah, cigars do seem high maintenance. You gotta treat them like a woman. You gotta know how to treat them. You know what I mean? But it's worth it. It pays you back if you enjoy smoking cigars. It pays you back when you take care of them.
What did
Okay.
Pastor Hank have to say about this cigar?
God said that smoking cigars is the closest thing to him. In 2020, that's when he said that, in 2020. So, pretty good construction. Has a nice little velvety feel to it. Nice draw. The ash comes off in nice little chunks. Damn it, my fucking hands are too strong. I just crashed it. So I had like a 1.5-inch chunk of ash that came off. It's not, flaking. It's not, even with the split here, it's not a flaky ash, which is great. I have on black pants and I have no ash flakes on my pants right now. It gives, let me describe it for you. Now, this is what we call an almost, well, not necessarily a puro, not a puro at all, but it's the origin is Dutch.
Nicaragua.
That is correct. The wrapper is Brazilian Mata Fina. Like I said, yes, it's a dark chocolate oily type of wrapper. Once again, because I didn't let it acclimate enough, it didn't get a lot of that oily sheen that it would have gotten.
Old dirty bastard, dark chocolate oily wrapper. That's
Yeah,
like ODB.
yeah. So
He was very oily.
Take a puff on its own. It's earthy. It's peppery. It's got notes of little chocolate and spice. So the pepper and the spice might be one and the same. It's not like a chili pepper or something like that. It's like a
notes of paprika.
No, pepper. It's pepper. It's kind of spicy. Like even right now in the back of my throat, giggity, it's a little spicy.
Ah.
Now what I did was I paired this with what I like to call gin and juice. I paired it with the Bitter Truth spiced pink gin here. Really good. Thank you. Shout out to my boy Mike.
Actually pink.
It is actually pink in color. Look at that.
It's hard to tell.
Yeah, it's actually pink in color. It's called pink gin, and I put squirt with it. So
highly underrated beverage.
Right. You know what? I can't find 50-50 anywhere. I would prefer 50-50. If anybody out there in Dig on America world has a link where I could get some 2 liters of 50-50 or cans of 50-50, preferably cans, please let me know and hit us up with a link.
You can't even find squirt in California.
Well, I'll take a drink of this. It's fucking good, by the way. 1.5 ounces of pink gin, and fill the glass with ice, and then fill it up with fill the rest, top it off with the squirt. The pepper mutes out. Still get the notes of chocolate. Still a little earthy, but it's definitely not as spicy. Nice little smoke. Not overpowering. I wish that I could get my wife to come down and tell me if the odor, some cigars she hates the smell of. Other cigars she loves. What? Playing me off this the Oscars?
Our Oscar review is upcoming.
What's super funny is, you know what cigar she loves the smell of?
A White Owl.
Backwoods Russian cream.
Though they're made backwoods. I'm convinced that backwoods are made for the odor other people smell.
It has to be. Yeah. It has to be because
they do have a wonderful smell. But
she loves the backwoods smell, even though they're trash cigars. And I found, you know what I found? This is what I found. You could tell, sometimes I can tell the quality of my cigar based on the air filter I have down here. So I have a Rabbit air filter down here in the basement. And like about half the cigars I smoke, even if they're moderate quality, the little indicator light turns red. But the last time when I was smoking the Davidoff Chef's Blend, it only turned purple.
You
Because
got to explain what that means to the listeners.
Okay, red means there's a lot of contaminants in the air, in the area that you're trying to filtrate, right? Purple is like a moderate, and blue is everything's all good. So I notice when I'm smoking, like when I smoke my Opus X, when I smoke Davidoff, when I smoke those higher tier cigars, most of the time the little indicator light never goes red. When I'm smoking mid tier, it'll go a little red, but not for like low tier. Like if I'm down here smoking backwoods and just smoking backwoods, that thing will be red for hours. If I'm not, if I'm smoking other cigars that are higher end, it might turn red, but it'll go off within 10, 15 minutes. You know what I mean? So it's just a little indicator to me of the quality of the cigar in a way. But this cigar,
what did the indicator light say about the Palestine, Ohio derailment?
That thing would probably still be red. Probably still be red. Jesus Christ, you can't plant nothing there. You can't drink the water that's under there or nothing. But anyway, really good cigar. You can find it. I've only been able to find it in boxes of 20. I haven't been able to find it. Usually you can find a pack of 5. But you can find, I smoked the Robusto Vitola, which is 5-inch by 52. 5 inches long, 52 ring gauge. The Robusto you can find for a box of 20 for like $150. That's not bad. They also have a Toro Vitola, which is 6 by 54, and a Gordo Vitola, which is 6 by 60. So that's a big boy. If you're not used to smoking bigger ring gauge cigars like 60 and up, prepare for your jaw to be hurting a little bit holding on to that cigar. Okay. In the leafometer, I would give this a, I'm sorry. The profile is strong. So you want to make sure that you eat something. If you're not a experienced smoker like me, you want to make sure you have something to eat and kind of puff it slow. It burned a little fast. We've been on for almost 2 hours. I mean, 2 hours is really good smoke time, especially for a Robusto. So I'm kind of lying. I smoked this for 2 hours, and it was only 5 inches long. And initially, when I first started smoking, I shied away from the Robusto Vitolas because they tend to smoke so fast.
Yeah.
But as I elevated,
we don't have a short show,
right? And as I elevated my the quality of the cigars I smoked, I found that the Robustos actually have a pretty good smoke time. And I've actually even found some Pequeños, the really small ones, the really thin ring gauge ones, that smoke well too. But on the leafometer, I would give this a 4.75. 4.75. I think that with the benefit of aging, it would be higher rated, but I've only had this for a few days. And I decided to smoke it because I get excited about when I get a CAO.
Before you log off,
yeah.
Do you have a tip for the uninitiated out there?
I would say
to
like a beginner entry cigar or something like that.
No. I don't care about that. Fuck that.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, like, if you get a cigar and you don't have it properly humidored, like, is there like a trick to, like, do you want to like put it in your refrigerator or like put it in a moist place or put it in a microwave with a cup of coffee?
No, what I would say is this:
put it over a boiling pan.
If you buy a cigar, now if you get a cigar, what you can do is put the cigar in like a medium-sized bag, okay, and then in a smaller baggie, put a piece of like a half a sheet of paper towel, fold it over like 3 or 4 times. You put it under water. You squeeze out the excess water, make it damp. Put that in a smaller baggie, and put that baggie in with the cigar, and then seal the bigger bag, and that'll release moisture for your cigar. But
So
you
the
got to
smaller
really
bag left cracked open.
yes.
Okay.
But yeah, you would probably seal it halfway. But then the bigger bag you would totally seal. Okay?
There you go.
But thank you for listening. Remember that cigar smoking and the experience is subjective. So I highly encourage you, if you're interested in cigars because of this Haas's Humidor, please keep that in mind, and remember that your experience might be different than mine. I may love a cigar that you hate. You may hate a cigar that I love. But enjoy. It's a great thing, very relaxing. And thank you for listening.
Well, there you go. I'll see you Friday. Actually,
I will see you
tomorrow on Twitch. I'll
Yeah.
see you Friday, and then with Lindsay, and I'll see you next week, Big Haas.
And I'm gonna try to get up with you, dude.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right. Peace.